The day began like any other in the Johnson household. 12-year-old Andre woke up to the sound of his mom moving around in their small kitchen. The apartment wasn't much, but it was home. His mom, Tanya, had been raising him on her own since he was 4, working 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. Life wasn't easy, but they had each other, and that counted for something. Andre rolled out of bed, his eyes immediately landing on the shiny golden envelope on his desk. A smile spread across his face as the realization hit him again. Today was the day. After months of hard work, after staying up late to perfect his essay while his friends were out playing basketball, it was finally paying off. Andre. Breakfast is ready, his mom called from the kitchen. The smell of pancakes filled the air, a special treat reserved for important days. Coming, Mom. Andre quickly changed out of his pajamas and grabbed the golden envelope before heading to the kitchen. Their apartment might be small, but his mom always made sure it felt like home, with family photos covering the walls and bright yellow curtains that let the morning sun filter through. Tanya was standing by the stove, still in her nursing scrubs, from her night shift at the local hospital. Dark circles framed her eyes, but her smile was as bright as ever when she saw Andre. "Today's the big day, huh?" she said, placing a stack of pancakes in front of him. "My little writer, getting to sit courtside because of his own words, I couldn't be prouder." Andre beamed. 3 months ago, his English teacher had told the class about an essay contest. The prize? A VIP experience at the season opener for the Philadelphia Kings, the city's beloved basketball team. Andre had spent weeks crafting his essay about what basketball meant to his community, how it brought people together and gave kids like him hope. When the principal had called him to the office to tell him he'd won, Andre had been so shocked he couldn't speak. "Do you think I'll really get to meet Troy Williams?" Andre asked, referring to his favorite player as he doused his pancakes in syrup. "That's what the prize says, doesn't it? VIP access, courtside seats, meet and greet with the players, and a tour of the arena." Tanya sat down across from him with her coffee. "Just promise me you'll take lots of pictures. I want to see everything when I get home from my shift tonight." Andre nodded eagerly, his mouth full of pancakes. His mom had tried to swap shifts so she could go with him, but with bills piling up, they couldn't afford for her to miss work. Instead, Andre's uncle would drop him off at the arena. "I just wish you could come too," Andre said quietly after, swallowing. Tanya reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "I know, baby. Me too. But this is your moment. You earned it with your hard work and your beautiful words. Sometimes in life we have to celebrate our victories even when things aren't perfect." Andre nodded, understanding beyond his years. His mom had taught him that life wasn't about what you had, but what you did with what you were given. And today, he had been given something amazing. After breakfast, Andre helped wash the dishes, then went to get ready. He pulled out his special outfit, new jeans his mom had bought on sale and his prized possession, a Philadelphia Kings jersey with Troy Williams' number. It had been a Christmas gift from his entire family, who had pooled their money to buy it. As he got dressed, Andre carefully placed the golden ticket in his pocket, checking 3 times to make sure it was secure. His uncle had warned him that tickets like these could sell for hundreds of dollars, and there were people who wouldn't think twice about taking advantage of a kid on his own. By noon, Andre's uncle pulled up outside their apartment building. The drive to the arena was filled with his uncle's advice about staying safe and Andre's excited chatter about the game. The closer they got to the arena, the more crowded the streets became, filled with fans wearing team colors and vendors selling merchandise. "Remember, I'll pick you up right here at the north entrance when the game's over," his uncle said as they pulled up to the drop-off zone. "Keep your phone on and call me if anything happens." "I will, Uncle Ray, I promise." Andre hopped out of the car, double-checking his pocket once more for the ticket. As his uncle drove away, Andre stood for a moment, taking in the massive arena before him. He'd seen it countless times on TV and from a distance, but he'd never been inside. Today, he wasn't just going inside. He was going in as a VIP. With a deep breath, Andre joined the crowd heading toward the entrance. Signs directed different ticket holders to various lines. Andre spotted the special VIP entrance, marked with red velvet ropes and staff members in suits instead of the regular security uniforms. He approached hesitantly, feeling out of place. Most of the people in this line wore expensive clothes and had an air of confidence that came with being used to such treatment. Andre clutched his ticket tighter. "Ticket, please, young man," a friendly staff member said when Andre reached the front of the line. Andre carefully pulled out his golden envelope and handed over his ticket, holding his breath as the woman examined it. Her eyebrows raised slightly, and then she smiled warmly at him. "Well, well, you must be our essay contest winner. We've been expecting you." Relief washed over Andre as she handed the ticket back and signaled to another staff member. "Michael will take care of you now. You're in for a real treat today." Michael, a tall man with a kind face, approached Andre with his hand extended. "Andre Johnson, it's a pleasure to meet our young writer. I read your essay, and I have to say, it was incredibly moving." Andre blushed, not used to such praise. "Thank you, sir." "No need for sir. Michael is fine. Now your VIP experience begins with a tour of the arena. Then you'll get to watch the players warm up from courtside, followed by the meet and greet. After that, you'll be escorted to your VIP seat for the game. How does that sound?" "Amazing," Andre breathed, unable to believe this was really happening. The tour was better than Andre could have imagined. Michael showed him areas most fans never got to see. The press room where post-game interviews happened, the luxurious lounge where team owners entertained guests, and even a glimpse of the players' locker room, though they couldn't go inside, since the team was preparing. As they walked, Andre took pictures with his phone to show his mom later. He listened intently as Michael explained the history of the team and pointed out photos of famous moments that had happened in the arena. "And now," Michael said with a smile as they approached a set of double doors, "the moment you've been waiting for. Through these doors is the court, where the players are warming up. Ready?" Andre nodded eagerly, his heart pounding in his chest. When the doors opened, the sounds hit him first. The squeak of sneakers on polished wood, the rhythmic bouncing of basketballs, the calls between players as they practiced. Then came the sight of the enormous court, gleaming under the lights with the players he'd only seen on TV running drills right in front of him. "Wow," Andre whispered, rooted to the spot. "Come on," Michael encouraged. "We've got courtside access. You can watch from up close." Andre followed him down to the court, feeling as if he were walking in a dream. They settled into seats right at the edge of the action, so close that Andre could hear the players talking to each other, could see the sweat on their faces. And then, the moment Andre had been waiting for, Troy Williams jogged over to the sideline for a water break, just a few feet away from where Andre sat. "Mr. Williams," Michael called, waving to get the players' attention. "Got a minute to meet our essay contest winner?" Troy Williams looked over, his face lighting up with a smile as he spotted Andre. He walked over, towel around his neck, and extended his hand. "Hey there. You wrote that essay about basketball bringing hope to your neighborhood?" Andre couldn't believe Troy Williams had actually read his essay. He nodded, speechless, as he shook his hero's hand. "That was powerful stuff, young man. Reminded me of where I came from." Troy reached into his warm-up jacket pocket and pulled out a wristband. "Here, I want you to have this. Wear it during the game for good luck." Andre accepted the wristband with shaking hands. "Thank you," he managed to say. "Keep writing. Keep dreaming," Troy said with a wink before jogging back to his teammates. Andre slipped the wristband onto his wrist, knowing he would treasure it forever. The rest of the pre-game experience passed in a blur of excitement, meeting other players, getting a basketball signed by the entire team, being interviewed for the arena's social media about winning the contest. Finally, as the arena filled, with fans and game time approached, Michael led Andre to his seat. Not just any courtside seat, but one right behind the team bench, where he would have the best view in the house and could hear the coaches and players throughout the game. "This is it," Michael said. "Best seat in the arena. Food and drinks are complimentary, and someone will check on you throughout the game to make sure you have everything you need." As Michael left, Andre settled into the plush seat, still in disbelief that this was his reality for the evening. Around him, people who had paid thousands of dollars for their seats were taking their places. Business people in expensive suits, celebrities trying to blend in with caps pulled low over their faces. And there was Andre, a kid from a struggling neighborhood, sitting among them because of an essay he'd written. In that moment he felt something powerful, the realization that his words, his thoughts, his voice mattered, that no matter where he came from he belonged here just as much as anyone else. The lights began to dim, and the crowd's excitement rose as the announcer's voice boomed through the arena. The game was about to begin, and Andre Johnson, essay contest winner and VIP guest, had the best seat in the house. As the arena lights dimmed and the crowd roared in anticipation, Andre couldn't help but notice the increasing flow of people hurrying to their seats. The VIP section was filling up with people in fancy clothes, many talking importantly on their phones even as they were being seated. Andre felt a little out of place but reminded himself that he had earned his spot here fair and square. Just as the announcer began introducing the starting lineup, Andre noticed a commotion near the general admission entrance across the court. At first he couldn't make out what was happening through the sea of excited fans. Then the crowd parted slightly, and he spotted a woman standing there, one hand pressed against her very pregnant belly, the other supporting her lower back. Even from a distance, Andre could see the discomfort on her face. The woman, whose round belly made her look like she could have her baby any day now, was trying to show her ticket to an usher. The usher pointed upward, gesturing toward the highest level of seats. The woman's shoulders slumped visibly, and she glanced up at the steep stairs she would need to climb. Andre felt a twinge in his chest. He knew that look well. It was the same one his mom wore after a double shift when her feet were swollen and her back ached. But she still had to cook dinner and help with homework. It was the look of someone who was tired but had no choice but to keep going. The pregnant woman took a deep breath and started toward the stairs, moving slowly and carefully. Nobody offered to help her. Everyone was too excited about the game, too focused on finding their own seats or buying snacks before the action started. "Is everything all right, young man?" Andre jumped a little, startled by the voice. Michael, the staff member who had given him the tour, was standing next to his seat with a concerned expression. "That lady," Andre said, pointing toward the pregnant woman who was now making her slow way up the stairs, stopping every few steps to catch her breath. "She looks like she's having a hard time." Michael followed Andre's gaze and frowned slightly. "That's quite a climb to the upper level. Unfortunately, those are the most affordable seats. The lower levels, and especially these VIP seats, are quite expensive." Andre watched as the woman paused again on the stairs, closing her eyes for a moment as if gathering strength. A memory flashed through his mind. His mom, 8 months pregnant with his baby sister who never made it, struggling to climb the 3 flights to their apartment when the elevator was broken. A neighbor had seen her and carried her groceries, and his mom had cried later that night, telling Andre that sometimes a small kindness could feel like the biggest gift in the world. His baby sister had been born too early, and she had lived only 2 days. Andre had been 6 then, and while he didn't understand everything, he remembered how the doctors had said his mom should have been resting more, staying off her feet. The memory made something twist inside Andre's chest as he looked back at the pregnant woman. She had made it about halfway up the stairs now, but she was moving even more slowly, and Andre could see her free hand gripping the railing tightly. "She shouldn't be climbing all those stairs," Andre said quietly. "My mom lost a baby once. The doctor said she worked too hard and was on her feet too much." Michael's expression softened. "That's very observant and caring of you, Andre. But what can we do? Those are the seats she purchased." Andre looked down at his VIP wristband, at the plush seat he was sitting in, at the perfect view of the court. Then he looked back at the woman who had stopped again, this time bending slightly as if in pain. Without fully realizing what he was doing, Andre stood up. "I want to give her my seat." Michael looked surprised. "Are you sure? This is your prize, Andre. You worked hard for it." Andre thought about his essay, about what he had written regarding basketball bringing people together and teaching values like teamwork and sacrifice. He thought about his mom's words that morning. "Sometimes in life we have to celebrate our victories even when things aren't perfect." "I'm sure," Andre said, feeling a strange mix of disappointment and certainty. She needs it more than I do. Michael studied him for a long moment, then nodded with what looked like respect. Let me see what I can do. While Michael spoke into his radio, Andre watched the pregnant woman make it to the top of the stairs. She was visibly exhausted, her face flushed with effort. As she finally reached her row and began the awkward sideways shuffle past already seated people, Andre felt even more certain about his decision. A few minutes later, Michael returned with another staff member. This is Lisa, he introduced. She's going to go talk to the woman and offer her your seat. I have to stay here and make sure everything goes smoothly with the VIP section. Are you absolutely certain about this, Andre? Once we make the switch, we can't undo it. Andre looked out at the court where his basketball heroes were now being introduced, lights flashing and music pounding. He had been dreaming about this moment for weeks. But when he looked back up at the pregnant woman who had finally reached her seat but was still struggling to catch her breath, he knew what he had to do. I'm sure, he said firmly. Please hurry, I think she's really uncomfortable. Lisa nodded and hurried off. Andre watched as she made her way up the stairs to where the pregnant woman sat. He couldn't hear their conversation over the roar of the crowd, but he could see the pregnant woman's confusion, then disbelief, then a look of profound gratitude as she placed both hands over her heart and then her belly. She's coming down, Michael told Andre. When she gets here, we'll get you her ticket for the upper level. Andre nodded, already standing and preparing to give up his prime spot. Part of him couldn't believe what he was doing, giving up a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But another part, the part that remembered his mom's struggles and sacrifices, knew this was right. It took several minutes for Lisa to help the pregnant woman navigate back down the stairs and across the arena floor. As they approached, Andre could see that the woman was even more beautiful up close, with warm brown eyes and a gentle smile despite her obvious discomfort. Are you Andre? She asked when they reached him, her voice soft but clear even over the arena noise. The young man giving up his seat? Andre nodded shyly. I can't believe you would do that for a stranger, she said, her eyes shining with what might have been tears. My name is Diana. I'm 8 months pregnant and my doctor told me to stay off my feet as much as possible. I didn't realize how far up those seats would be when I bought the ticket. It's okay, Andre said. My mom was pregnant once and she had to climb a lot of stairs too. It wasn't good for her or the baby. Diana's expression softened even more. You're an extraordinary young man, Andre. Are you here alone? My uncle dropped me off. He's coming back after the game. Diana glanced at Michael, then back at Andre. Would it be all right if I got your contact information? I'd like to thank you properly after the game. Before Andre could respond, Michael stepped in. I can help with that, ma'am. We have Andre's information from the essay contest. If you'd like to leave your details with us, we can facilitate that connection with his guardian's permission. Diana nodded. I'd appreciate that. She turned back to Andre. Thank you. Truly. This means more than you know. Andre smiled, feeling a warm glow despite giving up his prize. Enjoy the game. As Diana settled into his former seat, Andre followed Lisa toward the general admission area. The upper-level seat wasn't terrible. He could still see the court, even if the players looked much smaller from up there. Lisa made sure he was comfortable and promised that someone would check on him periodically. That was a remarkable thing you did, Lisa told him before leaving. Not many people would give up something they earned for a complete stranger. Andre shrugged, slightly embarrassed by the praise. It just seemed like the right thing to do. As the game began, Andre tried to focus on the action, but his mind kept drifting. He wondered about Diana, who she was, why she was at the game alone while so pregnant, whether she was enjoying the VIP experience. He hoped the players would say hi to her the way they had to him. Halfway through the first quarter, a vendor stopped by Andre's row. Are you Andre Johnson? The man asked. Andre nodded, confused. I've been told to offer you anything from my cart, complimentary, the vendor said with a smile. Apparently, word of what you did has gotten around to the staff. Surprised but grateful, Andre selected a hot dog and a soda. As he ate, he noticed that the people sitting nearby were looking at him with curious expressions. The woman next to him eventually leaned over. "Are you the kid who gave up his VIP seat to the pregnant lady?" she asked. Word had spread even to the regular fans. Andre nodded, his cheeks warming. "My sister's pregnant," the woman said. "Those stares were rough on her too. What you did was really special." Throughout the first half, more people approached Andre, some offering him snacks, others just wanting to shake his hand or take a selfie with him. It was strange being the center of attention, but also kind of nice. By halftime, Andre had almost forgotten about his lost VIP experience. He was enjoying the game, had made friends with the people sitting around him, and felt good about his decision. The Kings were winning. Troy Williams had already scored 20 points, and the crowd was electric with excitement. As the halftime entertainment began, Andre decided to use the restroom and maybe buy a souvenir with the money his mom had given him. He made his way down the many stairs, careful not to bump into people. The concourse was packed with fans buying food and merchandise or just stretching their legs. Andre had just exited the restroom when he heard his name being called over the arena's PA system. "Would Andre Johnson please report to guest services near the north entrance? Andre Johnson to guest services, please." People nearby looked around curiously, and Andre felt suddenly nervous. Had something happened? Was his uncle there early? Had he somehow broken a rule? With a racing heart, Andre made his way through the crowded concourse toward guest services. When he arrived, he found Michael waiting for him along with two men, in suits. "There he is," Michael said with a broad smile. "Andre, these gentlemen would like to speak with you." The taller of the two men stepped forward and extended his hand. "Andre, my name is Kevin Reynolds. I'm the owner of the Philadelphia Kings." Andre's jaw dropped. The owner? He knew Mr. Reynolds was incredibly wealthy and powerful, but he had never expected to meet him. "And I'm David Chen, the team's general manager," the other man introduced himself. It's nice to meet you," Andre managed to say, shaking both their hands. Mr. Reynolds smiled. "Andre, the woman you gave your seat to? Diana? She's my wife." Andre's eyes widened. "Your wife?" "Yes. She's 8 months pregnant with our first child. She wanted to see a game from a fan's perspective to understand the experience better. She insisted on buying her own ticket and going through the regular entrance. I was worried about her, but she's very independent." Andre didn't know what to say. The owner's wife? He had given his VIP seat to the owner's wife without even knowing it. "When she told me what you did," Mr. Reynolds continued, "I couldn't believe it. A young fan, winning a VIP experience through hard work and then giving it up for a stranger in need. That's the kind of character and compassion that's all too rare these days." "I just did what seemed right," Andre said softly. "And that's exactly why we'd like to invite you to join us for the second half," Mr. Chen added. "Not in the VIP section, but somewhere even better." Andre's confusion must have shown on his face because all three men smiled. "How would you like to watch the rest of the game from the team bench?" Mr. Reynolds asked. Andre's heart nearly stopped. "The team bench? With the players?" "With the players," Mr. Reynolds confirmed. "As our honored guest." It was beyond anything Andre could have imagined. Better than the VIP experience he had won. Better than anything he could have dreamed. "Yes, please," he whispered, hardly able to believe this was happening. As Michael led him back toward the court, this time heading for the team's bench area, Andre thought about how the day had unfolded. He had given up his prize to help someone in need, expecting nothing in return. And somehow, that simple act of kindness had led to something even more extraordinary. His mom had always told him that doing the right thing brought its own rewards. As Andre approached the team bench where Troy Williams and the other players were beginning to gather for the second half, he thought that maybe, just maybe, his mom had been right all along. Andre could hardly believe what was happening as Michael led him through a special entrance and onto the actual court. Players towered over him as they returned from the locker room, some giving him curious glances, others offering friendly nods. The coach, a stern-looking man Andre had seen countless times on TV, raised an eyebrow at Michael. Coach Wilson, this is Andre Johnson, Michael explained. Mr. Reynolds has invited him to sit with the team for the second half. The coach's expression softened slightly. The kid who gave up his VIP seat? Michael nodded. Good man, Coach Wilson said, extending a hand to Andre. We could use more people like you in the world. Just stay behind the bench line and try not to get too excited during plays. Yes, sir, Andre promised, shaking the coach's hand with barely contained enthusiasm. Troy Williams, who was adjusting his ankle brace nearby, looked up and recognized Andre from their earlier meeting. Hey, essay contest winner, what are you doing here? Before Andre could answer, Coach Wilson cut in. He gave up his VIP seat to Mrs. Reynolds when he saw her struggling with the stairs. Had no idea who she was. Just did it because it was the right thing. Troy's eyebrows shot up and a wide grin spread across his face. For real? That's some next-level character right there. He held up his fist for a bump, which Andre returned, trying not to show how starstruck he felt. Sit next to me, little man. I'll explain all the plays. And just like that, Andre found himself seated on the Philadelphia Kings bench right between Troy Williams and another player, close enough to hear the coach's instructions and the players' banter. A team assistant brought him a bottle of the Yar, same sports drink the players were using, and Troy handed him a team towel to drape over his shoulders, like a real player. As the second half began, Andre experienced the game in a way few fans ever did. He could hear Coach Wilson calling plays, players discussing strategy during breaks, and the friendly trash talk between teammates. Troy kept his promise, leaning over during timeouts to explain what had happened and what would come next. See how number 23 keeps overplaying to the right? Coach wants me to fake that way, then cut left for an easy layup, Troy explained during one timeout. Watch for it on the next possession. Sure enough, when play resumed, Troy executed the move perfectly, leaving his defender flat-footed as he glided in for an easy basket. He pointed at Andre as he ran back on defense, making the boy beam with pride. By the fourth quarter, the Kings had built a comfortable lead, and Coach Wilson put in the bench players to finish the game. Troy, his work done for the night with 34 points, sat back next to Andre. What did you think of that last three-pointer? Troy asked, accepting a towel from an assistant. It was amazing. The defender was all over you and you still knocked it down like it was nothing, Andre gushed. Troy laughed. Lots of practice, that's all. Speaking of which, he glanced around, then lowered his voice. I heard what you did for Mrs. Reynolds. That's the kind of move that means more than any basket I could ever make. Andre shrugged, suddenly embarrassed. I just thought about what my mom would want me to do. Your mom raised you right, Troy said, his tone serious now. Listen, after the game, stick around. Mr. Reynolds wants to talk to you again, and I've got something for you too. Andre nodded, wondering what could possibly make this day any more incredible than it already was. As the final buzzer sounded and the Kings celebrated their victory, Andre found himself caught up in the excitement, high-fiving players as if he were one of them. The team headed to the locker room, but Michael appeared at Andre's side. Mrs. Reynolds would like to see you if you don't mind. Andre followed Michael back to the VIP section where Diana Reynolds was waiting, her face glowing with happiness. When she saw Andre, she struggled slightly to get to her feet, one hand supporting her back. Andre, thank you again for your kindness, she said warmly. I hope you enjoyed watching from the bench even more than you would have from the VIP seat. It was amazing, Andre admitted. I never thought I'd get to sit with the team. Diana smiled. My husband and I were wondering if you might join us for a few minutes in the owner's suite. There are some people who would like to meet you. Andre glanced at Michael, who nodded encouragingly. Of course, as long as I'm back in time to meet my uncle at the north entrance. We'll make sure of it, Diana promised. Michael can contact your uncle to let him know about the slight delay. As they walked toward the owner's suite, Diana asked Andre about his family, his school, and his love for basketball. Andre found her easy to talk to, reminding him a bit of his favorite teacher at school. The owner's suite was unlike anything Andre had seen before. A luxurious room with plush furniture, a private bar serving drinks and food, and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the court. Several important-looking people were gathered there, talking and laughing. Mr. Reynolds approached as soon as they entered. "Andre, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the game from our bench." "It was the best experience ever," Andre said honestly. "Thank you so much for letting me sit there. After what you did for my wife, it was the least we could do," Mr. Reynolds replied. "In fact, I'd like to introduce you to some friends of mine." He led Andre around the room, introducing him to people whose names he recognized from the news. The mayor, a famous musician, several business leaders. Each of them seemed genuinely impressed by Andre's story, shaking his hand and complimenting his character. "And this," Mr. Reynolds said finally, stopping in front of a tall, distinguished-looking man, "is Dr. Harris, president of Eastern City University." Dr. Harris shook Andre's hand firmly. "Mr. Reynolds and his wife told me about your selfless act today. It's precisely the kind of character we look for in our scholarship recipients." Andre blinked, not sure he had heard correctly. "Scholarship?" Mr. Reynolds placed a hand on Andre's shoulder. "We've been discussing it while you were watching the game. Eastern City University has one of the best creative writing programs in the country. Dr. Harris read your essay and he agrees with us that your talent shouldn't go to waste because of financial constraints." "What Kevin means," Diana said gently, seeing Andre's confusion, "is that we'd like to establish a full scholarship in your name. When you're ready for college, Eastern City University will be ready for you. Tuition, room, board, books, everything covered." Andre felt like the floor was tilting beneath him. College was something his mom talked about, but always with a worried crease between her eyebrows, always with the qualifier, "if we can figure out how to pay for it." I don't know what to say," Andre stammered. "You don't have to say anything," Dr. Harris assured him. "Just keep writing, keep showing the same character you demonstrated today, and keep your grades up. The scholarship will be waiting for you." Before Andre could process this life-changing news, the door to the suite opened, and Troy Williams walked in, freshly showered and dressed in street clothes. Several people moved to greet him, but Troy headed straight for Andre. "There's my bench buddy," Troy said with a grin. "I've got something for you." He held out a basketball, not a standard one, but the actual game ball, covered in signatures. "Everyone on the team signed it. We wanted you to have something to remember tonight by." Andre accepted the ball with trembling hands. "Thank you," he whispered, running his fingers over the signatures. "That's not all," Troy continued. "I talked to Coach and the team, and we want you to be our special guest for the entire season. Season tickets, right behind the bench, and you can bring your mom too." Andre's eyes widened. "For real?" "For real," Troy confirmed. "And I was hoping maybe you'd let me visit your school sometime? Talk to your classmates about the importance of character and doing the right thing, even when it's hard?" "They'd love that," Andre said, imagining how excited his friends would be. Mr. Reynolds cleared his throat. "I think it's about time we got Andre to the north entrance to meet his uncle. Michael, would you do the honors? And make sure Andre has my business card, as well as Diana's contact information." As Michael led Andre out of the suite, Diana called after him. "Andre, I'll be in touch about arranging a proper dinner for you and your mother. I'd love to meet the woman who raised such an extraordinary young man." The walk to the north entrance seemed to take no time at all, Andre's mind spinning with everything that had happened. Michael stayed with him until his uncle's car pulled up, explaining to Uncle Ray why Andre was slightly late and giving him a business card with contact information. Uncle Ray looked shell-shocked as Andre climbed into the passenger seat, the signed game ball clutched in his lap. "Kid, you've got some explaining to do," Uncle Ray said as they pulled away from the arena. "Michael there just told me you gave up your VIP seat and ended up sitting on the team bench?" Andre nodded, still dazed himself. "And they gave me a college scholarship and season tickets, and Troy Williams is going to come to my school." Uncle Ray let out a low whistle. "Start from the beginning. Don't leave anything out." As Andre recounted the day's events from giving up his seat to the moment in the owner's suite, Uncle Ray's expression shifted from disbelief to pride. By the time they reached Andre's apartment building, Uncle Ray was shaking his head in amazement. "You're "Mom's going to lose her mind," he said as they rode the elevator up. In a good way, but still. Andre hadn't thought much about how his mom would react. Now, clutching the game ball and the business cards that proved this wasn't all a dream, he felt a bubble of excitement. His mom had always taught him to do the right thing even when it was hard. Today he had made a choice based on those teachings, and somehow it had changed everything. When they entered the apartment, his mom was dozing on the couch, still in her scrubs, clearly having tried to wait up for him. She stirred at the sound of the door, blinking sleepily. "Andre? How was the game, baby?" Uncle Ray nudged him forward. "Go on, tell her." Andre took a deep breath and sat beside his mom on the couch. "Mom, something happened today. Something big." As he began to tell his story, his mom's eyes grew wider and wider. By the time he got to the part about the scholarship, she had tears streaming down her face. "All this because you gave up your seat?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. Andre nodded. "I just did what you always taught me to do. I saw someone who needed help and I helped them." His mom pulled him into a tight hug, the game ball squished between them. "I am so proud of you," she whispered into his hair. So proud." "Uncle." Ray cleared his throat, clearly emotional himself. "I think this calls for a celebration. How about I order some pizza?" As Uncle Ray made the call, Andre's mom held her son's face between her hands. "You know what this means, right? College, Andre. You're going to college." The weight of it hit Andre fully then. College had always been a distant dream, something they hoped for but weren't sure was possible. Now it was real. His future had changed, all because he'd noticed a pregnant woman struggling on some stairs. "I just wanted to help her," he said, softly. "I never expected anything in return." His mom smiled through her tears. "That's why this happened, baby, because you weren't looking for a reward. You were just being the good person I always knew you were." As they sat together on the couch waiting for the pizza to arrive, Andre thought about how differently the day had turned out from what he'd expected. He'd gone to the arena thinking the VIP seat was the prize he'd earned with his essay. Now, he understood that the real prize had been the opportunity to help someone else, to make a difference in a moment when it mattered. Diana Reynolds hadn't just been any pregnant woman. She'd been someone with the power to change his life. But Andre knew deep down that he would have made the same choice even if she'd been just another fan, because his mom had taught him that kindness wasn't about what you might get in return. It was about who you chose to be when faced with someone else's need. As Uncle Ray turned on the TV to catch the game highlights, Andre saw himself on screen, sitting on the team bench next to Troy Williams. The announcer was telling his story, calling it the most heartwarming moment of the night. Andre couldn't help but smile. His mom squeezed his hand, and he knew she was thinking the same thing he was. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could lead to the biggest changes, and tonight, Andre's life had changed forever. The next morning, Andre woke up earlier than usual. For a moment, he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if yesterday had been just an incredible dream. Then he turned his head and saw the game ball on his nightstand, signatures clearly visible in the morning light streaming through his window. It had been real. All of it. He picked up the ball, running his fingers over the signatures, still hardly, believing that Troy Williams and the entire team had signed it for him. The memory of sitting on the bench, hearing the plays being called, feeling the energy of the game from right in the middle of it, it all came rushing back, making his heart race with excitement all over again. A knock at his bedroom door pulled him from his thoughts. "Andre, you awake?" his mom called softly. "Yeah, I'm up." The door opened and his mom stepped in, already dressed for her day shift at the hospital. She smiled when she saw him holding the basketball. "I keep thinking I dreamed it all," she admitted, sitting on the edge of his bed. "But then I woke up this morning and saw these." She held up the business cards Michael had given Uncle Ray. "Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds, the actual owners of the Philadelphia Kings. They want to have us over for dinner," Andre reminded her, sitting up excitedly. "And they're giving me season tickets so you can come to the games too." His mom shook her head. still looking amazed. And a college scholarship. A full scholarship, Andre. They sat in silence for a moment, both overwhelmed by the change in their fortunes. Since Andre's father had left 8 years ago, money had always been tight. His mom worked constantly, often taking double shifts to make ends meet. College had always been discussed as a someday hopefully dream, not a certainty. "I didn't think college was going to be possible," his mom said quietly, voicing what they both knew but rarely discussed. "I've been putting away what I can, but with rent and everything else." She trailed off, then reached out to squeeze his hand. "But now you're going. You're actually going," Andre squeezed back. "All because I gave up my seat." His mom's eyes grew serious. "No, baby. Not because you gave up your seat. Because of who you are. Because when you saw someone struggling, your first thought wasn't about what you wanted, but about what someone else needed. That kind of heart," she placed her hand over his chest, "that's what makes you special. The scholarship, the tickets, meeting Troy Williams. Those are wonderful things, but they're not what makes me proudest." Andre felt a warmth spread through his chest at his mom's words. "I learned it from you," he said softly. "You always help people at the hospital, even when you're tired." His mom smiled, her eyes growing misty. "That's the nicest thing you could say to me." She stood up, smoothing her scrubs. "Now I've got to get to work, but Uncle Ray is coming over to stay with you. Apparently there's been some excitement since last night." "What do you mean?" "Someone posted a video of you sitting on the team bench and the local news picked up the story. Your uncle says your picture is all over social media, and a few reporters called the hospital trying to reach me." Andre's eyes widened. "Reporters? For real?" "For real," his mom confirmed, looking a little overwhelmed herself. "I told your uncle to handle it. If anyone important calls, like Mr. or Mrs. Reynolds, he'll take a message. Otherwise, I think it's best if we just lay low today. You've had enough excitement." After his mom left for work, Andre tried to settle into a normal Saturday routine. Breakfast, some TV, maybe later some basketball in the park with friends. But it was hard to focus on normal things after yesterday's extraordinary events. Uncle Ray arrived mid-morning, carrying several newspapers and wearing a huge grin. "You're famous, kid," he announced, spreading the newspapers on the kitchen table. Sure enough, there was Andre's face on the sports pages of 3 different papers. The headlines ranged from "Young Fans' Kindness Leads" to "Courtside Surprise" to "King's Owner's Wife Receives Unexpected Gift from Essay Contest Winner." Andre stared at the photos of himself sitting on the bench next to Troy Williams, looking tiny compared to the professional players around him. It was surreal seeing himself in the newspaper, like he was suddenly a different person. "And that's not all," Uncle Ray said, pulling out his phone. "Your story's blowing up online. Someone in the arena posted a video of you sitting with the team, and when people found out why you were there, well, see for yourself." He handed Andre his phone, open to a social media post with thousands of likes and comments. The video showed Andre on the bench, Troy leaning over to explain something to him, both of them laughing. The caption read, "This kid gave up his VIP seat to a pregnant woman who was struggling with the stairs. Turns out she was the owner's wife. Now he's sitting with the team as their special guest. Faith in humanity. Restored." The comments were overwhelming in their positivity. "This is the kind of news we need more of." That young man's parents raised him right. Troy Williams showing why he's not just a great player but a great person too. As Andre scrolled through the comments, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from his best friend, Dion. "Dude, you're viral. Call me." Before he could respond, more texts started pouring in from classmates, teachers, even people he barely knew, all asking about the game and how he ended up on the team bench. "I think your quiet Saturday just got a lot busier," Uncle Ray chuckled. By noon, the apartment buzzer had rung 3 times with reporters hoping for an interview. Uncle Ray politely but firmly turned them all away, following Andre's mom's instructions to keep things calm. But after the 3rd reporter left, there was another buzz. "If it's another reporter, I'm going to start charging admission," Uncle Ray joked as he pressed the intercom. But it wasn't a reporter. It was Michael, the staff member from the arena, who had helped Andre throughout his adventure. "I hope I'm not intruding," Michael said when Uncle Ray let him into the apartment. "But Mrs. Reynolds asked me to deliver something personally to Andre and his family." He was carrying a large gift basket, beautifully wrapped in cellophane with a big blue bow, team colors. Inside were gourmet snacks, team merchandise including a new jersey with Andre's name on the back, and an envelope. "Mrs. Reynolds wanted me to tell you that she's been overwhelmed by the response to your story, Andre," Michael explained, setting the basket on the kitchen table. "She's had calls all morning from people who were touched by what you did." Uncle Ray picked up the envelope. "What's this?" "A formal invitation," Michael replied. "The team wants to honor Andre at center court during halftime of next week's home game. They're calling it Community Hero Night in his honor." Andre's jaw dropped. "They want to what?" "Honor you," Michael repeated with a smile. "Mr. Reynolds believes that your story has struck a chord with people because it reminds us all of how simple acts of kindness can make a big difference. He wants to use this moment to launch a new community initiative for the team, encouraging young fans to look for ways to help others." Uncle Ray whistled low. "That's something, kid. Your mom's going to need to sit down when she hears this." "There's more," Michael continued. "Troy Williams called this morning. He's serious about visiting Andre's school. He wants to establish a mentorship program there, starting with Andre, but eventually expanding to other students who demonstrate the same kind of character." Andre could hardly process what he was hearing. A program at his school, based on what he had done? It seemed impossible that his simple decision to give up his seat could lead to so much. "When can I tell my friends?" he asked finally. Michael smiled. "The team will be making an official announcement about the school program on Monday, so you can tell them then. As for the halftime ceremony, that's in the invitation, but the game is next Friday evening." After Michael left, Uncle Ray and Andre went through the gift basket, admiring the team gear and laughing at how quickly life had changed. "Your mom's going to need a day off for that game," Uncle Ray said, examining the invitation. "I'll talk to her about shifting her schedule. This is too important to miss." The rest of the weekend passed in a blur of phone calls, text messages, and social media notifications. By Sunday evening, Andre's story had been picked up by national sports networks, with commentators praising his character and the team's response. His mom had finally turned off her phone, overwhelmed by colleagues and even patients who had recognized their connection to the kid from the basketball game. Monday morning brought a new level of attention when Andre arrived at school. Students and teachers alike stopped to stare and whisper as he walked through the halls. His principal called him to the office, not to discipline him but to congratulate him and discuss Troy Williams' upcoming visit. "We're very proud of you, Andre," Principal Davis said warmly. "What you did reflects wonderfully on our school community." Andre's English teacher, Ms. Patel, who had encouraged him to enter the essay contest in the first place, was especially emotional. "I always knew you were special," she told him during class. "Your writing showed me your heart long before this happened. Now everyone else can see what I've always seen." By lunchtime, Andre was exhausted from retelling his story and answering the same questions over and over. He finally escaped to a quiet corner of the library, hoping for a few minutes of peace. That's where Dion found him. "Hiding from your fans?" Dion teased, sliding into the seat across from him. Andre smiled weakly. "It's a lot. Everyone wants to hear about Troy and the team and what it was like sitting on the bench." Dion nodded, understanding in his eyes. "But that's not even the best part of the story, is it? The best part is why you were there in the first place." "Yeah," Andre agreed, grateful that his best friend understood. "Everyone keeps saying I'm some kind of hero, but I just did what anyone would do." "No," Dion shook his head firmly. "Not what anyone would do. What you would do. That's what makes it special, man." The week continued in much the same way, with Andre adjusting to his new status as a minor celebrity. News vans parked near the school hoping for interviews. Though the principal kept them off school property, social media continued to buzz with Andre's story, with new details emerging as people who had been at the game shared their perspectives. By Wednesday, a new twist had developed. People online had started something called the Andre Challenge. encouraging others to share stories of simple acts of kindness they'd performed or witnessed. The hashtag was trending nationally, with thousands of posts from people inspired by what Andre had done. That afternoon, Diana Reynolds called Andre's mom directly to check how they were handling the attention and to confirm details for Friday's halftime ceremony. "We never expected it to become this big," Diana admitted, "but I think it speaks to how much people are craving stories of genuine kindness right now." Andre's mom agreed, but expressed some concern about the spotlight on her son. "He's just a kid. I don't want him to feel pressured to be perfect or to always be in the public eye." "I completely understand," Diana assured her. "Kevin and I have been discussing that too. After Friday's ceremony, we'll help make sure things calm down. The scholarship and the season tickets are yours regardless. No public appearances required." Friday arrived with both excitement and nerves. Andre's mom had managed to swap shifts with a colleague, and Uncle Ray had taken the day off to drive them to the arena. Andre wore his new jersey with pride, though he felt butterflies in his stomach at the thought of standing at center court in front of thousands of people. When they arrived at the arena, they were escorted through a private entrance and taken to the owner's suite, where Diana and Kevin Reynolds were waiting to greet them. "The woman of the hour," Andre's mom said warmly, embracing Diana, whose pregnancy was even more visible now. "No, that would be you," Diana replied. "You raised an extraordinary son. We just had the good fortune to be on the receiving end of his kindness." Kevin Reynolds shook hands with Andre and his mom. "We've prepared a short speech for the halftime ceremony, but Andre, if you feel comfortable saying a few words, that would be wonderful. If not, that's absolutely fine too." "I think I can say something," Andre said, though his voice betrayed his nervousness. "Just speak from your heart," his mom encouraged him. "Like you did in your essay." The first half of the game passed quickly, with Andre and his family enjoying the luxurious comfort of the owner's suite. Troy Williams came up during a timeout to say hello, giving Andre a warm hug and promising to look for him during the ceremony. As halftime approached, Michael arrived to escort them down to the court level. "Ready for your big moment?" he asked Andre. Andre took a deep breath and nodded, though his heart was racing. His mom squeezed his hand reassuringly. "Just remember, all these people are cheering for you because of who you are," she whispered, "not because of anything you have to pretend to be." When the halftime buzzer sounded, the regular entertainment was replaced by a spotlight at center court. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena. "Ladies and gentlemen, last week a young fan taught us all something about kindness and character. Tonight we want to honor him and announce a new Philadelphia Kings initiative inspired by his actions." The crowd cheered as Andre was led onto the court with his mom, the Reynolds family, and several players including Troy Williams. Kevin Reynolds took the microphone first, explaining briefly what Andre had done and how it had touched them. Then, Troy spoke, announcing the new mentorship program at Andre's school and a community initiative called Kings of Kindness that would recognize and reward young people who demonstrated exceptional character. Finally, it was Andre's turn. As he stepped up to the microphone, adjusted lower for his height, he felt a moment of panic looking out at the thousands of faces watching him. But then he spotted Dion and some of his other classmates in the stands, waving excitedly, and he found his courage. "I never expected any of this to happen," he began, his voice stronger than he had anticipated. "I just saw someone who needed help, and I remembered what my mom always taught me, that we should look out for each other, especially when it's not easy or convenient." The crowd had fallen completely silent, listening intently. "I didn't know who Mrs. Reynolds was when I offered her my seat. She was just someone who was pregnant and struggling with the stairs. And I think that's important because kindness shouldn't depend on who someone is or what they can do for you in return." Andre paused, looking over at his mom, who nodded encouragingly, tears shining in her eyes. "My mom works as a nurse and she helps people every day without expecting anything back. That's real kindness. What I did wasn't special. I was just following her example." He turned toward his mom. "So if you want to honor someone tonight, it should be her, and all the parents and teachers who show kids how to be good people." The crowd erupted in applause, many people rising to their feet. Diana wiped tears from her eyes and Kevin Reynolds looked genuinely moved. Troy Williams stepped forward, placing his arm around Andre's shoulders as the applause continued. When the noise finally died down, Kevin Reynolds returned to the microphone to announce one final surprise. In honor of Andre and his mother, the Philadelphia Kings are establishing a new scholarship fund for students from our city's public schools. Each year, 10 students who demonstrate exceptional character and academic promise will receive full college scholarships just like Andre. The crowd roared its approval as Andre and his mom stood in shocked silence. What had begun as a simple act of kindness had somehow blossomed into something that would change lives for years to come. As they were escorted back to their seats for the second half, Andre's mom pulled him into a tight hug. "I am so proud of you," she whispered fiercely. "Not because of all this," she gestured at the arena around them, "but because you spoke from your heart and gave credit to others instead of taking it for yourself. That's who you are, Andre. Don't ever change." Andre hugged her back just as tightly. "I won't, Mom. I promise." As the second half of the game began, Andre found himself thinking not about the scholarship or the season tickets or even about meeting his basketball heroes. Instead, he thought about the pregnant woman he had seen struggling on the stairs and how natural it had felt to offer her his seat. He hadn't been trying to be a hero or to get attention. He had just been trying to be the person his mom had raised him to be, and somehow that had been enough to change everything. 5 years had passed since that life-changing night at the basketball arena. Andre, now 17 and in his senior year of high school, sat at the kitchen table surrounded by college acceptance letters. Eastern City University was still his guaranteed option thanks to the scholarship from the Reynolds family. But his strong grades and impressive extracurricular activities had earned him offers from several prestigious schools across the country. "I still can't believe all these choices," his mom said, looking over his shoulder at the stack of letters. She had aged gracefully over the years, with just a few more strands of gray in her hair. The biggest change was the absence of exhaustion that had once been a permanent fixture on her face. 2 years after Andre's big night, she had been able to cut back to just one nursing job, using the money they saved on basketball tickets and special events to finally return to school herself. She was now just 1 semester away from completing her nurse practitioner degree. "I know," Andre agreed, still somewhat awed by the opportunities before him. "Mr. Reynolds called yesterday. He said regardless of where I choose to go, the scholarship funds will follow me." His mom smiled, resting her hand on his shoulder. "That's incredibly generous of them. They've been so good to us." It was true. The Reynolds family had become a steady, supportive presence in their lives. Diana had given birth to a healthy baby girl just weeks after the halftime ceremony, and to Andre's surprise, they had given her the middle name Andrea in his honor. Over the years, the families had shared numerous dinners, basketball games, and milestone celebrations together. Kevin had become something of a mentor to Andre, offering guidance on everything from school choices to public speaking, while Diana had encouraged his writing, even helping him publish a collection of essays about community and kindness that had been adopted by several local schools for their character education programs. The Kings of Kindness initiative had grown beyond anyone's expectations, spreading from Andre's school to the entire district, then to neighboring cities, and eventually becoming a national program with chapters in every major city with a professional basketball team. Andre had been invited to speak at the national launch event the previous year, sharing the stage with professional athletes, community leaders, and even a few celebrities who had embraced the movement. Troy Williams had kept his promise too, not just visiting Andre's school once, but establishing a regular mentorship program there. He and Andre had developed a genuine friendship, with Troy offering basketball tips, life advice, and even help with college applications. The young star, now a perennial all-star and one of the faces of the league, often cited Andre as one of his inspirations in interviews, claiming that their chance meeting had changed his perspective on using his platform for positive impact. "Have you made a decision yet?" his mom asked, bringing Andre's thoughts back to the college letters. "I'm still thinking," Andre admitted, Eastern City has that amazing writing program, but Hartford offered the journalism scholarship, and California Tech has the sports management program. He trailed off, feeling the weight of the decision. His mom smiled understandingly. You've got time. The deadline isn't for another week. The doorbell rang, interrupting their conversation. Andre's mom went to answer it, returning a moment later with a small package. Special delivery, she said, handing it to Andre. From the Reynolds. Andre opened the package carefully. Inside was a small blue box and a note in Diana's elegant handwriting. Andre, as you stand at this crossroads, we wanted you to have something to remind you of where this journey began. Your kindness changed not just our lives, but countless others. Whatever path you choose, carry that same heart with you. Diana, Kevin, and little Andrea. Inside the blue box was a beautifully crafted silver keychain. At first glance, it looked like a simple basketball, but upon closer inspection, Andre could see that one side was actually engraved with a tiny replica of a stadium seat. That's beautiful, his mom said softly, looking over his shoulder. Andre nodded, turning the keychain. Over in his palm, it was a perfect symbol, the basketball representing his love for the game that had brought him to the arena that day, and the seat representing the choice that had changed everything. Later that afternoon, Andre headed to the community center, where he volunteered as a youth basketball coach twice a week. The program was part of the Kings of Kindness initiative, giving neighborhood kids a safe place to play while learning about teamwork, perseverance, and, of course, kindness. Today was a special session. Troy Williams was coming to help run a clinic for the younger kids. When Andre arrived, the center was already buzzing with excitement. Children aged 8 to 12 were warming up on the court, while parents and volunteers chatted around the edges. Troy hadn't arrived yet, but everyone was anticipating his appearance. Andre moved around the court, offering pointers on dribbling technique and encouraging the less confident kids. He had discovered a love for coaching over the past few years, finding joy in the moment a child finally mastered a skill they'd been struggling with. It reminded him of how he'd felt when Ms. Patel had praised his writing, that surge of confidence that came from knowing someone believed in you. A ripple of excitement moved through the gym, and Andre Lowe okayed up to see Troy entering, accompanied by Diana Reynolds and her daughter little Andrea, now nearly 5 years old, with her mother's warm eyes and her father's confident smile. The children immediately swarmed Troy, who greeted them with high fives and fist bumps while Diana and Andrea made their way over to Andre. Surprise, Diana said, giving Andre a quick hug. Andrea wanted to see the program in action, and I thought it would be nice to catch up with you in person. Coach Andre, little Andrea exclaimed, wrapping her arms around his legs. She had known Andre her entire life, and had decided years ago that he was her favorite big kid. Andre knelt down to her level. Hey there, basketball star. Want to join the clinic today? Andrea nodded eagerly, her eyes shining with excitement. Go join the warm-up line, Andre told her. I'll be right there. As Andrea ran off to join the other children, Diana turned to Andre with a more serious expression. Have the college options gotten any clearer since we last talked? Andre shrugged. Not really. They're all great opportunities. Diana nodded, thoughtfully. Kevin and I were talking about it last night. We want you to know that whatever you choose, we'll support you. The scholarship funds are yours to use at any school. That means a lot, Andre said sincerely. I'm still weighing everything. Trust your instincts, Diana advised. They've served you well so far. She glanced over at the court where Troy was now demonstrating a passing drill, the children watching with rapt attention. By the way, there's another reason I came today. I wanted to tell you our news in person. News? Andre prompted when she paused. Diana smiled. We're expecting again, another girl, due in about 6 months. That's wonderful, Andre exclaimed. Congratulations. Thank you, Diana said warmly. And there's something else. Kevin and I have been thinking about how to expand the Kings of Kindness program to help it reach even more young people. We'd like to establish a full-time position, a program director who could coordinate between the schools, the team, And the community centers. Someone who understands the program from the inside, who has lived its values. Andre blinked, slowly understanding what she was suggesting. Are you offering me a job? After college, Diana clarified. It would be waiting for you whenever you graduate. Full salary, benefits, everything. You could even start summers and holidays if you wanted. Andre was speechless. A guaranteed job after college, doing meaningful work he was passionate about. It was more than he had dared to hope for. I don't know what to say, he managed finally. Diana smiled. You don't have to decide right now. Just like with college, we want you to choose what's best for you. But Kevin and I believe you'd be perfect for this role. Before Andre could respond, Troy called him over to help demonstrate a drill. As he jogged across the court, his mind was spinning with possibilities. A clear path forward was emerging. College, then returning to lead the program that had grown from his simple act of kindness. The clinic ran for 2 hours with Troy and Andre guiding the children through drills and mini-games. Little Andrea proved to be a natural athlete, fearlessly competing with kids several years older. By the end, everyone was tired but happy, the gym filled with laughter and the sound of bouncing basketballs. As the children gathered their things, and parents arrived for pickup, Troy pulled Andre aside. Diana told you about the job offer? He asked. Andre nodded. It's incredible. I never expected anything like that. Troy grinned. Man, after all these years, you're still surprised when good things come your way. You've earned this, Andre. Not just because of what happened at the arena, but because of what you've done with the opportunity since then. How many 17-year-olds commit to volunteer coaching twice a week? How many speak at national events about community building? How many publish essays that get taught in schools? Andre shrugged, still uncomfortable with praise even after years in the spotlight. I just do what feels right. Exactly, Troy said, clapping him on the shoulder. And that's why you're perfect for this role. You live what you teach. After the gym had cleared out and everything was put away, Andre walked Diana and Andrea to their car. Troy had already left for a team meeting, promising to catch up with Andre at the next game. Think about the offer, Diana said as she helped Andrea into her car seat. No pressure, but we're serious about wanting you for this. Andre nodded. I will, and thank you for the keychain. It's perfect. Diana smiled. Kevin thought of it. He said it would be a good reminder that sometimes the most important choice is the one that seems smallest in the moment. After they drove away, Andre decided to walk home instead of taking the bus. It was a beautiful spring afternoon, and he needed time to process everything. The college options, the job offer, the continuing ripple effects of that night 5 years ago. As he walked, he passed familiar neighborhood landmarks. The corner store where he and Dion used to buy candy after school, the park where he had learned to play basketball, the library where his mom had taken him every Saturday morning when he was little. Each place held memories, connections, a sense of belonging. By the time he reached his apartment building, Andre had made his decision. He'd go to Eastern City University, just as originally planned. It had an excellent writing program. It was close enough to home that he could still volunteer at the community center, and it would prepare him for the program director role that awaited him. His mom was preparing dinner when he walked in, the small apartment filled with the comforting smell of her famous lasagna. How was the clinic? She asked, looking up from the stove. Great, Andre replied, washing his hands at the kitchen sink. Troy was a hit as usual, and Diana came with little Andrea. Oh, that's nice, his mom said. She's growing up so fast. Diana's pregnant again, Andre added, reaching for plates to set the table. Another girl. His mom smiled. That's wonderful news. I'll have to call and congratulate her. As they worked side by side in the small kitchen, Andre felt a surge of gratitude for this life they had built together. His mom had raised him alone, working impossible hours to keep them afloat. She had taught him kindness not through lectures but through example, showing him daily what it meant to put others first, to do what was right even when it was hard. I made a decision, he said as they sat down to eat. I'm going to Eastern. City. His mom's face lit up. Really? You're sure? Andre nodded. And after I graduate, the Reynolds have offered me a job directing the Kings of Kindness program. Full-time, with benefits. His mom's eyes filled with tears, but her smile was radiant. Oh, Andre, I'm so proud of you. Not because of the opportunities or the recognition, but because of who you are. I learned from the best, Andre said softly, reaching across the table to squeeze her hand. Later that night, as Andre lay in bed thinking about the path his life had taken, he remembered something his English teacher, Ms. Patel, had said the day after his story had gone viral. The beauty of kindness is that it creates a different kind of wealth, not money or possessions, but connections, opportunities, moments of grace. And unlike material wealth, this kind multiplies the more you share it. 5 years ago, Andre had given up his seat to a pregnant woman struggling on some stairs. It had been a small decision, made in an instant, based on values his mother had instilled in him throughout his life. He couldn't have known then that the woman was Diana Reynolds, that her husband owned the team, that the simple act would lead to college scholarships and national programs and mentorship opportunities that would change countless lives. But even if Diana had been just another fan, even if no recognition or reward had followed, Andre knew he would have made the same choice. Because his mom had taught him that kindness wasn't about what you might get in return. It was about who you chose to be when faced with someone else's need. As he drifted toward sleep, Andre's hand closed around the basketball and seat keychain that the Reynolds had sent, a reminder of where it all began, a simple choice that had changed everything. But the truth was, Andre didn't need a reminder. The lesson was written on his heart, guiding his choices every day. Look for the people who are struggling. Offer what you can, even if it costs you something. Trust that kindness creates its own kind of magic in the world. It was the lesson his mother had taught him, the lesson he now taught the children at the community center, the lesson that 5 years from now he would still be sharing as the director of Kings of Kindness, touching